On the corner of 25 West Main Street in downtown Vermilion. The Spot, Winnie Mays, is proud to support programming on Coyote News. The Spot, Winnie Mays, providing salon and spa services for men, women, and children.
Tonight, a new ticket system is changing how students claim their free seats at Coyote athletic events.
And a USD fraternity is getting an entire new home. You're watching Coyote News.
Live from the Al Newharth Media Center, this is Coyote News.
And thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Michael Stake.
And I'm Jody and Tyson.
September is Suicide Awareness Month. I talked to mental health specialist Tanner Peterson on how to make a difference before it's too late. The National Institute for Mental Health says suicide is a leading cause of death among young adults in the U.S. With that in mind, it's important to understand the severity of this topic. If you're worried about your friends, Tanner Peterson shares a few things to look out for.
It can seem like a really daunting experience, but I think it's all about having really honest conversations of what are you seeing in this individual? Are they isolating? Maybe they're not getting very good sleep, or they've had a really big event in their life happen. Losing appetite. Certainly not one of those things indicates that someone is struggling. But when we start to add these on top of one another, we can recognize that these might be yellow flags or red flags that, hey, maybe someone needs additional support.
You don't have to push through it alone. But if you want to change your routine for improved mental wellness, Peterson says it's important to get 3 meals a day, exercise, but above all else, sleep. The most crucial thing to know is that there's always help available.
It sounds cliche. But cliches are cliches for a reason. There is help out there. There are resources waiting and wanting to help individuals who are hurting and struggling. And so whether that might be you, someone else, a friend, a colleague, taking the moment of courage to check in, have an honest and human conversation of these struggles. And I recognize it. It's scary. It's scary to go to that first session. But on the other side of that fear might be a much better lived experience. And so I encourage students to think about that and recognize that fear and go for it anyway.
For Coyote News, I'm Michael Stake. Again, if you're struggling, the Student Counseling Center and the 988 hotline are there to help.
A new ticket system continues to draw in students for sporting events. Soon, they'll no longer be able to tap their IDs for free admission to USD games. Instead, they'll claim their free tickets online prior to home events. The athletic department sees success for the soft launch in the long run, and they want to eliminate any concerns with the new system.
The National Institute for Mental Health.
Anytime you introduce something new, there's going to be pushback, and there will be people who aren't willing to adapt to it. But from the numbers we saw at our volleyball matches and football game this past weekend, it had no impact on attendance.
Duffy says students will be able to see what games are coming up for that week and can expand their interest in sporting events. He expects the new system to be in full swing by next year.
The Lambda Kai Alpha fraternity is moving into a new house next year. The 92-year-old home was demolished this summer, and construction on the new one is now underway. The new living quarters will hold up to 27 brothers. It's being built in the same location on Pine Street, just across from the main Vermilion campus. This is the third chapter house the fraternity has occupied in its 107-year history. Since their old living space is gone, members are spending this year in a new location. Coyote News' Marissa Brunkhorst is live in the Muck with alumni director Griffin Peterson. Marissa?
Thanks, Michael. I'm here with Griffin Peterson, the alumni director of Lambda Kai Alpha. Thanks for being here today, Griffin. Absolutely. So tell us about this construction. Why did your fraternity decide to build a new house?
So our house was very old, around 100 plus years. And so we decided it was time for an upgrade, and what better of a time now than, the start of the new year when we got plenty of new freshman faces on campus and we have a lot of recruiting to do.
And without a house, what kind of events are you able to host?
It's really a lot of off-campus events. We do our best to try to keep our brotherhood strong with a lot of our brotherhood events, and that's really just kind of within our chapter. But, we're still able to have socials with the sororities, with some of our off-campus facilities, and, we try to make the best with what we have so far.
How did being without a house impact recruitment this year?
So recruitment presented us with a pretty unique challenge, but the thing about Rush Week is it's only the start of the year-round recruitment process. So we're really hitting the ground running, and I think we really have some new and great faces so far.
What's the key to maintaining a community right now for you guys?
We're a pretty small chapter, and so we were very cohesive before our chapter house went down. And so while we are all separated physically, that has not separated our brotherhood in full. And so what you're going to see from Lambda Chi Alpha is that we're a united front, and we always will be with and without a house.
Thanks for joining me today, Griffin.
Absolutely, thank you.
Live in the Muck for Coyote News, I'm Marissa Brunkhorst.
Thanks, Marissa. The new house is expected to be finished by next fall.
Coming up, we talked to an international student about their difficulties in going back home. You're watching Coyote News.
In a world where embracing your identity is a privilege not usually given to the members of the LGBTQIA+ community,
the University of South Dakota Spectrum provides community and education for young queer scholars.
Sexuality and identity are defined on spectrums.
And having a community of open-minded, inclusive peers provides safety. Spectrum is one reason all Coyotes can call the University of South Dakota their home.
Hi, I'm Quinn Guinette, president of the Anime Club. And sure, we watch a lot of anime and talk a lot about manga, but the club, it's so much more than that. It is really a place for people with similar interests to come together. This is a very relaxing environment. There are tons of snacks, places to study, and a bunch of different types of anime we see every week. We meet every Tuesday in Become Room 340. So please, come be a part of this community.
This is Coyote News.
USD has over 600 international students, but returning home can be tricky for them. Coyote News' Quinn Masick talked about the problem with a student from Europe.
Anton Pertenko is one of many international students at USD. However, when the school year ends, he cannot return home. Pertenko is from Belarus. Belarus is an Eastern European country that borders Russia and Ukraine, which is why Pertenko can't go home.
Belarus doesn't send its own troops to Ukraine, but it heavily supports Russia. Belarus is not directly involved in the war, but passively they help Russia a lot. And unfortunately, this is heartbreaking for us.
Pertenko says at the beginning of the war, Belarus allowed Russia to use their country to invade Ukraine. He says his country is not safe to go back to.
A year and a half later, I was admitted to a global undergrad exchange program run by the Department of State of the United States of America, and I was placed to the University of South Dakota to come here for a semester and study.
When people heard Pertenko's story, the USD community came together to help him.
The support I received from USD and USD's community is just, I cannot even explain how grateful I am for their support.
Pertenko says he sees this as an opportunity to gain necessary skills to help him with his career in law. He says he hopes to one day give back to the university.
This is like my main motivation right now, is to give back to the people who let me, basically provided me with a lifetime opportunity to achieve something great in life.
For Coyote News, I'm Quinn Masick.
Thanks, Quinn. Pertenko says with the war in Ukraine at a standstill, he doesn't know when he'll be able to return home.
A USD graduate has won an award for his research on how drag bans are a violation of the First Amendment. Brett Rees graduated from USD in 2020 and from Duke Law School earlier this year. In June, he won a national LGBTQ+ Bar Association student writing competition with his article, "Don't Be a Drag: How Drag Bans Can Violate the First Amendment." Rees participates in drag and was able to speak about how the bans have personally affected him in a TED Talk he gave in February. A new semester means the chance to get involved with new opportunities. We go back to Marissa Bronkhorst with a look into how one student organization is kicking off the semester. Marissa?
Thanks, Jodianne. I'm here with Injin Lee and Erica Martinez of the Korean Student Association. Thanks for joining me today, guys.
Thanks for the invitation.
So tell us about your organization's plans this year. What's in the works?
Well, we're really excited. We're really excited about tomorrow. We're going to be showing Parasite at 6 p.m., 6 to 9 in the Muck Ballroom. We're going to have Coke and popcorn, and Parasite won all those Oscars in 2019. It's a Korean film. It's going to be in subtitles, so we're really excited to show it. And then we're going to have Pepero Day on November 8th, where we're going to enjoy people are, I think, a little familiar with Pocky, the pretzel-covered candies. Well, there's a Korean version called Pepero, and so both countries enjoyed the same holiday in November, so we want to celebrate that on November 8th.
Speaking of Parasite, there's been an influx of Korean art and music in popular culture in the States right now. Why is this significant, and why is it important to watch films and listen to music in different languages?
Well, you get to experience a culture that's different than our own. My coworkers got me onto Korean films and television shows a few years ago, and I'm really excited about it. Yeah. And one thing that I really like is that with if you're watching something that's in a different language or with subtitles, you have to pay attention to it. You can't be on your phone if it's in a different language that you don't know, so it forces you to pay attention, and that's one thing that I think is really important.
And you, Erica, are a third-year law student. What is the value of being involved on campus as a postgraduate student?
Well, I wasn't involved as an undergrad, so I'm taking this opportunity to be involved with undergrads as a law student because I want to experience things that are on campus, and plus I like to be involved. And Unjin asked me if I would be vice president when she started this club, so I said absolutely. It's just something that we both really enjoy and want to get the word out about, specifically about the Korean culture.
Thanks for joining me today, you guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Tomorrow, Korean Student Association will show Parasite at 6 p.m. in the Muck Ballroom. Live in the Muck for Coyote News, I'm Marissa Bronkhorst.
Thanks, Marissa. A list of all campus organizations can be found at the USD involved website.
The Student Government Association met last night to revisit 7 old business matters and discuss one new bill. Senators discussed a resolution supporting the South Dakota Legislature and Board of Regents' continuation of the tuition freeze. The freeze would continue through the next academic year.
The South Dakota Board of Regents feels confident that all 6 Regentally universities are able to make this work again this year, which is why they're willing to advocate for it. And it is because of that and the benefits associated with it that I think that it's appropriate for USD to also support a tuition freeze.
5 special appropriations were reviewed,
Board of Regents,
which will be discussed next week. A special appropriation for the love of learning tutoring was tabled. More information can be found on the Volant's website. The SGA meets again next Tuesday evening at 6:30.
USD has already had 4 reported sexual assaults on campus this semester. In response, the university is providing educational resources for students on sexual assault prevention. Collegiate Empowerment has visited more than 3,000 campuses since 1995. On Monday, they talked with student athletes and Greek life about how they can make a difference. The Zero Shades of Grey presentation sets the tone that sexual assault is serious to the victim, and it's a problem on all levels. The only person responsible for a crime is the perpetrator. If you or someone you know is the victim or witness to a crime, UPD urges you to reach out to law enforcement.
Next on Coyote Sports, a career-high performance in football's win over Lamar.
And the basketball teams released their schedules for the 2023-24 season.
Dedication, resilience, and devotion. These 3 words define the USD dance team. As ambassadors of the university, the collegiate dancers engage the crowd on game days, connect with the community through events, and prepare for the UDA College National Championship to represent the university. Dance team is more than just a sport, it's a passion.
Goes on 3. 1, 2, 3, go!
Day in and day out. From one field on to the next. Dedicated, restorative, and driven. To the American farmer who represents the roots of our country, we thank you for all you do.
This is Coyote News.
This is Coyote Sports. I'm Spencer Bewley.
And I'm Callie Connors. The volleyball team is on a 5-game win streak after sweeping the Green Bay Invite. The Coyotes opened the 3-day tournament against the hosting Phoenix. Freshman setter Avery Van Hook led the team with 51 assists, setting her new season high. Against Illinois State, Kylan Seelock led the team with 16 points, helping the Coyotes to a 4-set victory. Seelock then tied her season high with 18 kills in the matchup against Central Michigan, helping the Coyotes to a straight set victory. The team will open Summit League play against the Omaha Mavericks this Saturday at 7 p.m.
USD Soccer picked up a win against Lindenwood University on Saturday to put them at 4, 2, and 3 heading into conference play. Brooke Conway scored what would be the only goal of the game early in the first half. A shutout defensively would give the Coyotes the win 1-0. They'll host St. Thomas tomorrow night at 4 p.m. for their Summit League opener.
Coyote football is approaching a bye week after picking up their second win in a row against Lamar University, where the running game surprised even head coach Bob Nielsen. Running backs Travis Tice and Nate Thomas rushed for a combined 284 yards out of USD's 305 total on the ground. Thomas, who missed the 2022 season with an injury, led the backfield with a career-high 164 yards. Nielsen says his playmaking ability is key for the Coyote offense.
He's got that ability to slip contact, it's hard to get a square he's a powerful guy, and then when you can't get a square shot on him, he's always falling forward for extra yards. He's got his confidence back. I thought both he and Travis ran really, really well today.
Nielsen says both the backs' roles will be crucial ahead of conference play. The Coyotes will kick off in Fargo against North Dakota State on Saturday the 30th at 1 p.m.
The women's tennis team opened their season this weekend at the Gopher Invitational. In singles play, 5 of the 8 Coyotes that participated went unbeaten. The other 3 only lost 1 singles match. In doubles, Grace Chaddick and Anna Medvedeva went 6-0 for the Coyotes. Altogether, the Coyotes had a record of 36-11, going 20-3 in singles and 16-8 in doubles. The team's next event is the Drake Fall Invite in Des Moines this weekend.
En route to a 35th place finish overall, Logan Hammock led the men's golf team for the second week in a row. Hammock shot 1 over in the final round to secure 5 over par for the Wildcat Fall Invitational. The Coyotes finished in 12th place as a team with scores from Max Schmidtke, Ryan Neff, Cole Witherow, and Parker Etzel. Host Kansas State won the tournament. The team will be back in action on Monday in Des Moines for the Zach Johnson Invite.
The basketball schedules for both the men's and the women's teams have arrived. The men will kick off with a home opener against Mount Marty on November 6th. They'll have a total of 14 home games, with notable tournaments in the Arizona Tip-Off and the Big Sky Summit Challenge. The women will kick off with a home opener as well for the second straight season. They'll face off against Northern State on November 6th and will have a total of 16 home games. They'll also be in action in the Battle for Atlantis tournament and the Big Sky Challenge. Season tickets for Coyote basketball are on sale now and can be purchased online or by calling the USD ticket office. The Coyote D1 teams have started their seasons, and the intramural seasons are kicking off too. Coyote News' Sydney Colon is live in the Muck with more. Sydney?
Thanks, Spencer. I'm here live with Braden Eisenhower, graduate assistant for intramurals. So intramurals have already kicked off for the season. Are there any changes for intramurals for this year compared to years past?
I would say not too many. For the most part, it's the same as it has been in the past. We did get new goals on our soccer field, as well as a sprinkler system on our soccer field. So we're excited with those upgrades that make our soccer field a little better playing surface this year.
And volleyball, football, and soccer have already kicked off. Are there ways for students to still register for these sports?
Unfortunately, those sports registrations have closed, but with the playoffs coming up soon for those, we will be starting our second block of sports after those have been completed, and we'll have registrations up for those shortly.
Are there any other sports that are open at all besides the ones previously mentioned?
Not at the moment. The esports does have some events taking place. We do have a golf scramble taking place tomorrow, but that registration unfortunately closed last night as well. Other than that, we try to put posters out and about when we do have one-day events. Other than that, keep your eye out for those kind of things, and we'll have those out in the next few weeks.
And are there any other ways for students to be involved in intramurals without technically being involved in a sport?
Yes, we have, like I mentioned, our esports is still technically kind of involved with our intramurals, so they can go to the esports arena, and there's certain leagues there, or they can just play whatever they want, free games and stuff like that at our esports arena. Then like one-day events, we have some of those. Those don't always include the sports that were mentioned. We've had ping pong and tennis previously already happened as one-day events, and we'll have some more of those coming up, racquetball and things like that.
And where can students go to get more information about intramurals?
They can go to the Wellness Center, or I think that's our main place is the Wellness Center, and they'll direct them from there.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Live in the Muck for Coyote Sports, I'm Sydney Colon.
Thanks, Sydney. USD students can participate in more than 35 intramural sporting events each year.
For the first poll of the semester, we asked our ex-followers, formerly known as Twitter, how fast they could eat a dome dog. Looks like out of the options, under 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, or no dome dogs for me, most followers said...
Drum roll, please. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I don't know. That's a hot take, because I think that most people fail to realize that dome dogs are bigger than normal hot dogs.
That's
They're not
true.
those little small size you get from the grocery store.
Not the traditional kind. No, absolutely not. I think I could maybe do under a minute, but that's a close call for me.
A minute at best for me. So
it's a tough one.
Yeah.
For more polls, check out our social media at USD Coyote News.
That's it for Coyote Sports.
When we come back, we ask students what their best pickup lines are. Stay with us.
This is Coyote News.
First dates are scary, but a memorable first impression always helps.
In this week's Out and About, we asked students to tell us their best pickup line. Here's what they had to say.
If you let me borrow a kiss, I promise I'll give it right back.
Can I have your jersey? She like, what you mean? Like your name and your number?
Riz. I ain't gonna lie, I stole this one. It's a good one. It's like, what's your jersey number? Can I get your name and number? Works every time.
Do you like sales? Because clothes are 100% off at my place.
If I could put you and I together, if I could, hang on.
Are you a goldfish? Because you're a snack that smiles back.
Hey, my friend over there thinks you're cute.
Girl, if I could rearrange the alphabet, I'd put you and I together.
If you were a booger, I'd pick you first.
They say dating is a number game, so can I get yours?
Hey, how are you?
Hey girl, are you a chicken? Because you're impeccable.
You must be the square root of -1 because you can't be real.
Are you a library book? Because I've been checking you out all day.
Don't look at me like that.
Probably like, how you doing? Like Joey says it on Friends.
Do you play soccer because you look like a keeper?
I normally just go with, I'm hot, let's go skating. It works.
I think that God must have taken the 2 brightest stars and put them in your eyes.
You know what this made out of? Boyfriend material.
Wow. Would any of those work on you?
It might. It's not necessarily what you say, but how you say it.
Oh.
You know?
See, for me, I'm a little bit more classy.
Donuts aren't just a sweet treat for humans. Last week, 2 bears were caught munching on a few in a Krispy Kreme delivery van. The van was stopped in front of a convenience store on a military base in Alaska. The bears enjoyed their snack until base security set off a siren that scared them away. The delivery driver has since learned to close the door to the van when bringing in deliveries.
Okay, that bear was 100% in the right.
Yeah.
I love Krispy Kreme, and I'd be taking those donuts any day of the week.
For real.
It's always a bear, too. No other animal. Always a bear, every time.
Original.
That's all for Coyote News.
Check out the Volant for an update on the construction of the new university pool.
Listen to 91.1 for news updates throughout the week and for coverage of your USD sports.
And follow our social media pages for updates throughout the week. Have a great night.